Now, we're going to do something a little bit different today. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be going through kind of where we're going to be going the next rest of the spring and also the summer. Now, I've done the Ask Anything sermon series before in this church. It was several years back, and the church was smaller at that time, and we only got a handful of questions in. And so I was thinking, this might be a little bit of a, maybe tops 2 months, that we'll be doing this, and then we'll jump into our next book of the Bible. And then the questions just kept pouring in, and so I'm like, okay, this is going to be longer than I thought, but that's okay. This will get us through spring and summer. But I mentioned already the first topic we're going to look at today, what happens after death. Okay. The following week, we're going to look at what will the millennium be like. Okay, Revelation 20, the 1,000-year reign of Christ. We're going to look at that. Then explain Satan's fall and the doctrine of angels and demons. We'll look at that on May 10th. On May 17th, this is a really sobering question. Do people that commit suicide have any chance of going to heaven? So some of these are very difficult questions. The next one's also difficult. And do babies and the mentally disabled that die go to heaven? On May 31st, what does Christian faithfulness look like in the context of the local church? What are the consequences of not obeying God for future generations? That's on June 7th. June 14th, how to share your faith with family that are only professing Christians. So these are people who think that they're Christians, but they're really not. How do you share your faith with someone like that? June 21st, again, this is all tentative, but this is the plan. Is my spouse responsible for my satisfaction in marriage? So a marriage question. June 28th, which is a great day, that's my anniversary, our anniversary. How do we parent godly in a world where discipline is demonized? Very good question, right? It's very unpopular these days to discipline your children, right? Because it's demonized. July 5th, explain be fruitful and multiply in the context of modern day contraceptives. July 12th, pray for me on that one. July 12th, explain the relationship between the doctrine of election and the free choice of man. That's a huge question. July 19th, as Scripture teaches us to hate our sin, are we also to love ourselves? July 26th, how do we reconcile David's hatred of his enemies with Jesus' commands to love our enemies? Very good question. August 2nd, how should we interpret the biblical teaching concerning women and head coverings, according to 1 Corinthians 11? That's another tough one. I was hoping you'd take it easy, but you didn't do that. Yeah. August 9th. Now, I love this one because the Bible does address this, and it's not often one we think about. What is the significance of numbers in the Bible? Okay, significance of numbers in the Bible. Not the book of Numbers, but other numbers in the Bible. August 16th, how did God providentially give us the Bible? And here we're going to discuss also versions of the Bible. What are the best versions of the Bible? Is there only one version we should be using? And I know some people say that, and we're going to talk about why I don't believe that's accurate. August 23rd, how do we know the Baptist faith is the most faithful to Scripture, and what is the Baptist position on spiritual gifts? Big question. August 30th, what danger and benefit does AI and ChatGPT present to the world? And then September 6th, how should Christians approach Christian traditions that have pagan influence? And then September 13th, should Christians have any association with the secular movie/music industry? Okay, so there's kind of a wide range of questions. Some are difficult biblical questions. Others are just how do we process, how to be faithful to Scripture in this crazy world that we live in. So we'll be looking at this over the next 4 or 5 months. So looking forward to doing that. So if you'd be in prayer, I'd appreciate that. And I thought, let's specifically pray for this today. So we're going to do that right now, and then I'm also going to pray for our morning offering. So if you bow your heads with me at this time.